Welcome. Let's take a tour of the online flood quoting tools. To get to the main page, most agents would either put in a user ID and password and then put in their email address to reach this point, or else there may be an icon on your desktop that would allow you to come directly to this website. We're going to look through the features of the website, and then we're going to go through a preferred risk policy. Right here on the main page, on the top right, you see the quick access bar where you can put in the policy number and the name and get directly into the policy. We have the team, the phone number, and the extension of the team at the Flood Processing Center. Should you need to reach out for some additional assistance, customer service is available from 8 in the morning until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the home page. The feedback page would allow you to put in your comments, your email, and tell us a little bit about what you think about our website or other comments. Please do not put any policy processing information in because this is not going to get anything processed through this feedback tab. Contact Us is the next part where you can see all the different ways to reach customer service, technical support, claims, their phone numbers, their fax numbers, their email addresses, even where to send the payment, the physical address there. The privacy statement is there as well, and we're going to continue down the left-hand side of the page where you see all the transactions of what can be done on this website. Now, this is a fully integrated flood processing website. You can do almost everything you need to do with your flood business right here online to help yourself to any of the reports that are necessary, policy processing, all the transactions, including cancellations and endorsements, as well as new business. And the NFIP underwriting rules and guidelines are built into all the transactions that you find here on our websites. It's a very helpful source for agents to come here onto the website and complete their transactions here. So we're going to go down the left menu and talk about some of the things we see here that can be done. Of course, you would go here to search for an existing policy. You would click on the search tab, and it will open up either a policy search, a quote search, or a claim search. You can also open and initiate a new quote here on the website. You would begin by just clicking on the new quote, and it tells you to start right in, selecting which product you would like to quote. You can quote either flood or excess flood, depending on what products are open to your agency. You can open a claim here on this website. This would be the initial claim. If your insured were to have reported that there was a flood loss in their area, you would go here to open an initial claim. You can also open an initial claim, and your insureds can open their own initial claim at our original consumer website. Also, you can reprint the quote or the application page here. You would simply choose which one you want to reprint. That would be in case your insured needs another copy of the application to take to the lender for settlement, or a copy of the quote. The reports is another important section here on the left-hand menu. This would be where an agent could monitor and control their flood business here online. The in-force report would be a list of the policies that are in force for a specific policy period. Cancellation, and you can see as you scan through, it gives you a short description of what each report can do for you. You're doing a rollover. There are rollover reports here to tell you how the rollover is proceeding. And that's the reports menu down the left-hand side. The next thing we're going to talk about is the bulletin board. This is a handy resource, sort of a library that an agent can use to get some further information or do some research on flood topics. All of the information that Wright Flood sends out are on the agent bulletin board. You can access that information along with forms to complete and other information several different ways. You can look through the listing of documents that's down the bottom. You can search using a keyword, and you can also look on the toolkits. Using the documents listing under agency efficiency, for instance, you would see a listing of the forms that you might want to send in. You would click on the forms, and it will show you all the forms that are available here on the bulletin board. If you put your cursor on and click on the title of the form, it opens up to show you the document. This would be the electronic banking form that you would use to send a new bank account into. Also under keywords, You can find the same documents a different way. You could put in marketing, and you would see all the different marketing topics. Let's look up marketing order form. Search for that, and if you find the order form should be directly at the top, you click on the order form, and you would get any of the materials that you would like to order, brochures and documents and stickers that are available to agents. Also, the toolkits is another handy way to access the information. These are combined to be used for different purposes. All the information that you would need, for instance, on map revision, what an agent would need to use and know, and actions to be taken related to map revisions in your area. These would be flood zone map revisions. Agent tips on map changes, grandfathering information, handouts that you would give to your client and customize with your agent information. So there's a lot of marketing and operations and NFIP information available here on the Agent Bulletin Board. The recent bulletins tab would be the things we had just put on the bulletin board, and not to forget the useful links at the end, which include the links to FEMA, to Floodsmart, to insurance publications, to the Write Your Own program bulletins. All the things that you might need to find are right here on the bulletin board. Another important feature of the website is the how-to. The how-to teaches you how to do transactions on our website. For instance, policy maintenance, all the different policy maintenance transactions. These would be the step-by-step directions as well as the screen prints of how to do a cancellation, an endorsement, a lender change, a policy payment, how to request a declaration page. These are all things that you would find on the website. Upload files, just as an example, when you open them up, clicking on the title, you see the screenshots, the step-by-step, so that you're fully informed how to do all the transactions on the website. Policy maintenance is one of the transactions you can do. You would search for the policy number, putting in either the policy number, the insured name, or the property address to find which policy it is that you want to do policy maintenance on. Continuing down the left menu, we have the chat bar, the online support. When you click on online support, it opens a new window, so it does not disturb the transaction that you're in the middle of should you have a question. You can click on online support. It opens an instant message box, allows you to choose which department you would like to chat with among the 6 offered there. And if you were to click on flood quote assistance, you put in your name, you type in your question, and you start the chat. They'll acknowledge you on the chat and then continue to answer your question. It's also something you can get a transcript of your chat to include with your policy file. The next piece we're going to look at is the flood webinars. You would click on the flood webinar icon to register for any of our live webinars. We have the online live webinar today that's being offered. The Agent Actions for June 1 is available. You would click on the title to register. You would also click on the title of any of the handouts to download the handouts. As you can see, there's a list of other on-demand flood webinars. These are recordings of past flood webinars that we've completed that for different topics, information about the elevation certificate, information about flood zone discrepancies between the lender and the policy, the basics of the flood reform, with all of the handouts attached below that are available for you to download as well. And then if you continue down the left menu, you can get directly into floodsmart.gov. This is where consumers can go to get information on the flood policy, but more important for agents, under the agent site, an agent can go there to learn how to refer to the flood policy, how to sell flood insurance, how to become a Floodsmart agent and receive leads and referrals and advertising tools. And then also very important, the map update schedule. Flood zone maps are changing across the country, and as an agent, you're going to want to use this tool to find out the schedule of when flood zone maps are updating or changing in your areas. So going back to the flood website, So let's go into the new quote. If you select new quote, you see the flood and excess flood are the two products that you can quote. We're going to quote flood. It brings you into the policy, and then you can begin your quote immediately. Is the insured a business? No. We're going to go through and answer the items that have the icon on the side that indicates those are required items. We're going to put in the name of the client, and we're going to hit next. Put in the property address. We want to put the complete address as it's delivered by the post office. Again, this is the physical address, not the P.O. box. It's going to ask if the mailing address is the same as the property address, of course, and then are we requesting a zone determination? That would be a yes or no. In this case, I'm going to say yes, so you can see the zone determination information that we're going to get. You always use the next or the previous buttons that are at the bottom of the page to get to the next page or to go back to the prior page. When you see the zone information is received, the address is first, the flood zone is listed there, and X in this case would be a low to moderate risk zone. It is not a high risk zone, and it has the map and panel date there. And then following that is a representation of the flood map. You'll see the property address located here, and you can click to print a printed copy of this flood zone determination and the map so that you can give that to your client for them to take a look at when they're considering that quote, because it shows them just how close they would be to a high-risk zone. The high-risk zones would be the reddish colors there, and then the white is the low-risk zone. And this policy is going to be in a X zone, so it's in the low to moderate risk flood zone. So now we're going to continue into the preferred risk policy quote. We're going to select our waiting period, and one of the things to be aware is we're looking only for the blocks that have the required field, and also notice that if you click on or put your cursor on the question itself, it indicates that there's additional information behind it. So every question as you go through the quote has help text to help you understand what each of the choices would be. The waiting period is an important choice and they have also made changes on it quite a bit recently, so there's a bit of help text so that you can fully understand the question. When you click on the down arrow, you get all of the valid choices that are available to you. This is a preferred risk, so we're going to go with the standard 30-day wait. Only the policies that are for a lender transaction where you're going to actually be at a settlement table, those would be the ones that can waive the 30-day wait. Okay, so this is effective date will be 30 days, and we're going to continue answering the questions. The date of construction, and I'm selecting the date of construction based on the actual date of construction. The policy type, I have a choice because this is an X zone. It could be either the preferred risk or it could be regular. It would be preferred risk because I have no history of claims on this property address. If I had a history of claims, or if I was using a grandfathered X zone, I might choose regular, but in this case, I'm going to choose preferred. Is the insured a tenant? No. Rental property? No. Purchase date? And then next. If I miss any questions or don't put them in the format, it will tell me something needs still to be filled out. It's asking, there's a required question, disaster assistance is pre-filled as no. The purpose of the building is another required question. In this case, it is a residential building. The building occupancy, since it's residential, is one of 3, and I will pick single family. The building usage, the NFIP is asking now what we're using these various buildings for purposes of the compliance, and so we're going to select main building. Under construction, no. Walled and roofed, yes. Entirely over water, that's a pretty standard question we've had for some time now, not over water. Now, when there's a new question, there's additional help text here because people may not be used to this question include coverage for additions or extensions. Some buildings are actually two buildings combined by a walkway or a roof line, and so the NFIP would like for us to give them a little more information whether this building we're quoting has an extension addition on it, whether it is the extension or addition and we're insuring it separately. If it excludes the addition and extension and we're insuring it separately, but it does have an extension or an addition, or in this case, if there is no extension or addition. Next question also is a new question, effective June 1. I need to know the percentage of the year following the policy effective date will the insured or the insured spouse live in the building. And this one will be a primary residence, so it will be 80%. 51 to 79 will also, after June 1, make this a primary residence. If I select 50% or less, then it would be considered a secondary or non-primary residence. In this case, I'm going to pick 80%. Located on leased federal land, normally that is pre-filled as a no, but it's an option if you want to increase that. Next question is about the building foundation. Basement enclosure or crawl space. Again, this is a required question. I'm going to look at all my choices and decide that this building is slab on grade, so there is no basement enclosure or crawl space. The number of floors for this building type would be 1 floor in this case. There's no second story on this house. Attached garage attached to or part of the building, yes. The square foot of the garage, I'm going to say 300 square feet. And then permanent openings in the garage, I'm going to put 0 for none. Okay, and then replacement costs. This is a required field. I'm going to put $210,000. Next, contents location. It's going to pre-fill lowest floor above ground only because I'm only 1 floor and I'm on a slab. Contents only. If I was doing a contents-only policy, this would be my opportunity to say yes, but in this case, I will be doing building coverage, so I'm going to say no. Now I've completed the quote portion, and I can choose the premium. You see the premiums down the right-hand side, and you see the amount of building and contents coverage down the left. In this case, I'm $210,000 replacement cost, so I'm going to choose the $200,000 building coverage, which gives me $80,000 in contents because a preferred risk policy is a package policy. It will give me building and contents together. Normally on a flood policy, you would select your building coverage and then you also have the choice to select your contents coverage. But the PRP, preferred risk policy, is a package policy, so it has both together, and my premium in this case will be $390. So I go next. I'm finished the quote portion, and it allows me to print the quote as one of the documents on this. It will also send a copy of that quote to me in an email form using the email address I used when I entered the website. Now that quote, let's take a look at that quote for a minute, has all the parts that your insured will need to be able to decide if they want to purchase this policy. It's very helpful to send this to the insured and then discuss, as well as the zone determination and the map, discuss what information they need about considering this flood policy. The important notes here would be, in this case, since it's a preferred risk policy, it's going to confirm the loss history of this policy, if there is any, to confirm its eligibility for the preferred risk policy. Also at the bottom of our quote, it's very handy that we have the flood insurance waiver of agent's responsibility. This helps the agent to open the conversation with the insured to let them know that homeowners insurance doesn't cover flood, federal disaster assistance could be a interest-bearing loan, and flooding can and does occur even in the low to moderate risk zones nationwide. Those are three important topics that, for an E&O purposes, the agent needs to discuss with the insured, especially if the insured were to reject this. The agent would request that the insured initial and return this document and sign this document and return it to the agent for the agent to keep this in his file as protection for E&O in case there is a loss on that property. Okay, so that we were just looking at the quote, but now the quote automatically turns into an application as you go forward. So if the insured were to purchase this policy, we would continue on and add the lender, if there is any, to this policy. So I would add lender. To add a lender, it's kind of simple. You can either add in the address and everything of the lender, or you can skip down a little bit and see the top lenders that are listed on our website and find if one of the lenders listed there, the top 10 lenders across the country, often are listed right here. If you happen to find it, you can just click on that. And then the lender type allows you to pick what position, whether it's first mortgage, second mortgage, or whatever. You can pick whether it's ISAOA or a TEMA, and you can pick both if you choose. Are you billing this to the lender, yes or no? In this case, we're saying no, we are not. The loan number would be something you'd want to put in if it was available. That's very important. And then if the lender has a financial interest in the building only or in the building and personal property, or one or the other. In this case, the building only. The lender type is required, and I missed that. Okay, let's go back up and see that there's a missing piece, the lender type. I thought I picked first mortgagee, but there you go. Okay, so now I'm hitting next. Okay, we can see here, this is the lender page, and I can either edit the lender if I want to using the icon here on the left to the lender name. I can delete that lender. If I choose to add a different lender, I can delete this one off, or if the mortgage is paid off, I can delete that as well. And then I can click to set the lender as the bill to lender. If I were to click that, it would let me establish that this was the bill to lender or not. So there you go. And I'm going to hit next. Now I'm looking at the payment options. Also, you can see under documents right now that I can send the quote, and I also have a preview of the flood application available. Again, both of these documents will be emailed to me, and I can email them to my client or to the lender settlement table if that's what I need to do directly from here. Okay, so I'm going to work on the payment options now. Who is responsible for paying the renewal bill? I'm going to set the lender to pay the renewal bill. Pay to is listed there. And then I have three choices as to what the selection of payment method might be. I can do an electronic funds transfer out of the insured's account. I can do a credit card out of the insured's account, or I can send a check by mail. If I'm looking at the electronic funds transfer, it gives me a graphic that shows me how to pick the routing number and the account number from the insured's check, confirm that, and then it can come electronically out of the insured's checking account. I can choose credit card, and then I have an option of choosing all the different credit cards that the NFIP will allow us to use, and then completing that information. It's a secure site, so no worries about credit card information, and you can choosing either the electronic funds transfer or the credit card will allow the transaction to be completed totally paperless. There will be no need to send anything further in to us. You'll transmit the application, and the payment method will go together with the application, and the transaction will be completed. Or you can choose check by mail, and then you would indicate which party is going to send the check. If it's going to be the insured's check, then they can tell you check number. You want to make certain when you're using the check by mail that they mail this check as promptly as possible, because there can be a change to the policy effective date if the policy payment is not received at the flood processing center within the 10-day period. So you're going to want to send that immediately as soon as you can. So that would be how you would select the check method, and then you're going to hit next. Okay, so the policy application has been transmitted. You get a confirmation there telling you to print and sign the application and submit the premium if you're sending it by check, which was the final one that we did. Again, you can print the documents. The flood quote and the flood application can be printed here. And also you'll see that the opportunity to upload any required documents. If we were doing something that required an elevation certificate or a photos or a renewal document, we would check here and it will help us to do the file upload. It gives us directions. It allows us to start the file upload, and then you get to browse directly into your network to find any documents that you need to attach to that application. That is the completion of a paperless transaction. So we thank you very much for sharing this tour of the website with us and going through the PRP quote, and we hope that you'll get back in touch with policy processing at your team from the website, or if you need any additional help, please contact marketing at 866-373-5663. And we appreciate your choosing us for all your flood insurance needs. Thank you.